first maybe start with you. You've been one of the first architects of bringing a global technology uh, and getting that indigenized here and then scaling it at some level, right? So maybe a little bit of uh, uh, quick recap on uh, what were those initial days? How did things happen and how did things scale with the BrahMos? Yeah.
Thank you, Prashant. And let me speak in the language of audience.
Yes,
So,
please.
one of the most successful uh, startup founder uh, has been Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. It's great surprise because he took 1,000 crore, 500 crore from Russians, slightly more, 500, 25 crore from government of India, and founded a company which today has a business worth more than a lakh crore. So I think Chandra was asking, uh, name a person who has come up with a unicorn. So those days, the word unicorn was not there, but he is a man who has come up with a unicorn in the defense technology manufacturing. So uh, then s- Dr. Sivthanu Pillai succeeded, and he is the founder, CEO of BrahMos Aerospace. He has set up the technical, managerial, and the legal infrastructure of the company. We started with anti-ship. Now, after the success of this anti-ship missile, and we got the order from Navy, then we became user-driven company because Indian Army said we also would like to have it. They gave different specs. So we modified the technology and came up with the top attack and
At
surround
that point,
capability.
indigenization had already set in. You no longer needed Russian tech at that point in time.
No, here, uh, slight diversion. What happened? Uh, we shared our IP. So some IP came from Russians, some came from DRDO. And these shared ITs created a product called BrahMos missile. For the sake of, you can say, confusion, we continued with the name BrahMos. We never changed it. So if it is Army, it is BrahMos. If it is Navy, it's the BrahMos. It's Air Force, BrahMos.
It's the same product, but
Same. It's a
different
different
specs.
product. The engine is same. The airframe is same, but inside software guidance and many of the things are different. The way you launcher is different, platform is different, and then came the requirement from the Indian Air Force. Uh, Indian Air Force has said that we would like to have it from launch it from Sukhoi 30. And why Sukhoi 30? Because Sukhoi 30 was able to share the source code of the aircraft, and it was very easy for us to get integrated with it. And we created the world biggest launcher. We modified the aircraft platform. We also reduced the weight of the BrahMos missile. And when the Pakistan Prime Minister, by the way, he is our brand ambassador because the government of India never said that we fired BrahMos, but he keeps saying that India fired BrahMos and we couldn't retaliate in the lighter vein. So a lot of technology has been generated in the country, and the technology came from another source. You see what happened? The DRDO has undertaken a project, Integrated Guided Missile Program. Under that, we developed Prithvi, Agni, series of missiles, then Nag, Akash, Trishul. So a lot of subsystems were already developed. We had to modify them to suit the requirement of BrahMos.
Got
So this IP, it became a big source for BrahMos to be successful. Some of the things which we didn't have, like engine, seeker, that came from Russia. Seeker we indigenously make now. But we want to continue the relationship with Russians. That is why we didn't attempt to indigenize or develop in-house the liquid ramjet engine.
Yeah.
It's a marvelous piece of
Mhm.
engineering. If someone sitting in the hall, they can undertake the development of this engine, it would be he can become possibly the first unicorn in the private sector. It's
Sure.
a huge market.
Got it. Got it.
And maybe rest of the story
Yeah,
about
we can,
manufacturing
yeah,
later.
we can.
Yeah.
Uh, so, Gunjan, uh, you have another perspective because you keep intersecting with both the large MNCs that now, and some of them in advanced manufacturing that have started to scale up, the tier one suppliers, have started to scale up manufacturing. So, are you seeing new momentum in how manufacturing, and Karnataka and Bangalore has always been the first in uh, you know championing some of this. And do you already see signals that we were at a different moment in terms of advanced manufacturing?
So, if you look at advanced manufacturing, Karnataka has always been a leader in the country. And we are seeing the kind of companies and the kind of investments that have come in has given a total impetus to this ecosystem. One is, of course, the presence of R&D. So, if 40% of the R&D and 30%, more than 30% of the GCC are located here, so definitely you borrow the technology and then they come in here. Of course, we have aerospace and defense, which you mentioned. This is like Bangalore features not only it features in the top three ecosystem when it comes to getting FDI. So it's not talking about India alone. We are talking about the world ecosystem. Similarly, electronics, we have of course a lot of design that is happening in the semiconductor space, and now we are having the manufacturing part of it in applied material and lab research. They are actually going to set up their manufacturing. Similarly,
Just to clarify, people see Applied Material, they manufacture the machines that build fabs. Yeah.
yeah, so both lab research and applied material are the ones who actually make machinery for the semiconductors. So if you look at lab research, they're going to be setting up their manufacturing for the machinery, and their R&D is a cutting edge R&D which is looking at 2 nanometers. Like that is the best that you can get within the. So these some of these things have ensured that this trickles down. So if we are looking at Foxconn, which has set up just an assembly here right now, but that we have to get the component manufacturing. We are talking to a lot of startup. I can give you one example. There is a ethereal startup, the
Yeah,
ethereal.
ethereal machines.
So
Yeah,
they
ethereal
have
machines.
become a
They're
supplier.
going to be speaking in
Yeah, so ethereal machine, if Kaushik Mudda is here, so they have become the supplier both for lab research because they're already, and they are actually working with Foxconn and the big fruit companies. And what we do is that again, they need components, they need machinery. So we need, because what we have recently, that China has clamped down. So we have to give a lot of impetus to those companies which are venturing into machinery space. So when it comes to the ecosystem within the, and we see a lot of startups. So we have lots of startups, particularly in the space from Pixel, Electrics. We have Nopo, which is in the composite space. We have Flying Wedge. We have New Space. So many of these companies have actually contributed to our ecosystem.
Thanks, Kunjan. Somna sir, I think you've you know been in a industry where I think there have been startups that you've consulted it with, and so maybe some perspective on how difficult has space tech been for getting revenue in this sector and scaling in the sector. It's non-trivial, right? You don't have 1,000 buyers in this space. So, what has been your experience in terms of the type of startups and the type of companies that have been successful to some extent right now? But how do you see this industry going forward in terms of space opportunities and for startups?
Thank you, Prashant. Before I come to that question and the answer, thank you for taking manufacturing as a topic to discuss today, because I was a project director once for a rocket. I soon realized that manufacturing is really going to control my production and schedule of delivering the first prototype of the hardware which I had to launch. But today we look at manufacturing as a core area in aerospace, which is really lacking in our country, and there is a huge opportunity. And this is something that we want to consolidate to create an aerospace manufacturing ecosystem, really, under one place. I think they just now discussed about the rotors as similar to that. Can we really go somewhere and build aerospace systems? There is no place here, still not. So
Hopefully, Bangalore is where.
I think that is something which is a dream for me to happen, maybe in Bangalore, maybe across many other places in the country, which we need many more. Now, coming back to your question on demand profile for aerospace companies. Now, here there is a huge issue for many people who come into the sector need to understand. For example, the upstream, which is building the rockets and satellites, their businesses are very regulated. No, it doesn't. It is not a property that can be sold that easily. Because there are geopolitical issues. There are trade restrictions, and there is a demand versus supply availability issues, and there are likes and dislikes, which actually controls the use of those stuff. So basically, many of them will be used for your own requirements mostly, and some will be available for commercial use. That you see,
Launch vehicles, you'll have
launch
to launch
vehicles.
your own
Yeah, typically, you look
satellites.
at Russia. Who goes there for commercial launches? Very few. China, very rarely some go. No, if you come to India, at least there is a demand for launches in India, and I have seen that in Indian rockets are in great demand, and we actually have a problem of availability today. It is controlled by the ability to manufacture in numbers. To be truthful to you, so and look at spacecrafts. Spacecrafts are again another class of systems where who really wants them. It's not a product that can be just built and then kept in the shelf for sale. It is custom designed for a specific purpose, and we need to really find a customer who will be able to use it, which is again a huge issue. So then that's why Starlink built their own satellite and launched using their own rocket and their own service they have providing, because it becomes an end-to-end business for them. Now look at the midstream, which is building systems. It has a huge market. For example, if you want to build electronics, communication equipment, sensors, propulsion, some devices, you can sell it to many people. I think there is a business case for it. But the biggest business case is for the downstream, where you are developing applications, which is domain agnostic. So you can talk about every nation, agriculture-based product based on space, the geographic information system-based products, intelligence gathering. It has a huge market. So you look at all sectors and see demand profiles are different. But here, the manufacturing is mostly in the upstream and the
The
midstream,
midstream.
which is more focused. There, the suppose somebody wants to build a rocket, for example, here. For those people who are really the speaker, we talked about Agnikul here. No, they need to really go to the next step. After the first step is over, really they need to, if they want to really capture the world market in terms of the business, their satellite mass need to increase substantially than the current profile. It has to go to 500,000, few hundred tons, really to build a market profile, and it requires investment. It requires capacity expansion in the days to come. So is the case of Pixel. Pixel is already launched about 6-7 satellites. If you really want to capture the world market, they have to launch few hundreds. Really you have to have a constellation of satellites, and then so the investment required, the ability to manufacture and launch in very short period becomes a crux of the problem. I think this is where the manufacturing comes in, but the markets, of course, has its own challenges, which we will have to discuss in great detail.
Great, thanks, sir. So just coming back to the scaling and the manufacturing part, like you mentioned, uh, any lessons for startups and for younger companies that would venture out to do defense products and
Yes.
supply to the defense ecosystem? How does one tackle, working with the defense ecosystem and from your experience?
Yeah. Thank you. Uh, if we look at manufacturing, uh, it started as a standalone supply of services. So the manufacturing started as a service provider. Initially, it was general machining, then came precision machining, ultra precision machining. Now, there are still companies who say that you give us the drawing, print, we would manufacture it using 3D printing. So, this journey of manufacturing as a service provider is being still going on.
And it's still a big opportunity, and there is startups that are like Ethereal and which will build and scale there.
Yes. Now here comes the manufacturing companies as a standalone service provider will not survive. They have to develop the capability of design and development. Now, it is for the company to decide in which area they would like to specialize. Now, here I want to give you an example. It's a very ancient example that sugar industry. There were companies who were specialized in delivering a plant uh, from concept to installation, and you just have to give them money. Then came your cement industry also, like L&T, they are leaders in this. Dairy, they are leaders in that. Now, in the defense, this thing is missing. Like as a CEO, I have seen that, my intention, or rather my business used to be deliver a missile to the user. Now, to deliver a missile, I need to create a supply chain of manufacturers. Now, again, the problem of service, this manufacturer as a service provider used to create huge problem. So I used to tell them that if I give you specification, build to specification, first category is called build to print, the second is build to specs. So if I give you a specification, please create a drawing, please create a product. This product should meet the qualification, testing standards, and I would be happiest person. Now, some companies have really created huge wealth based on this concept. You mentioned about data pattern. Mr. Rangarajan,
Yeah, Ranjan.
his first order came from Brahmos Aerospace. He has started his company from the shade, literally shade. Today he's become very wealthy person. He's become billionaire based on our first order. So now coming back to this
I think
manufacturing
and I
business.
think he's been one of those early folks who wanted to really do the design indigenously,
Design
and that has really held him in good
Yes.
stead.
He created the design and development facility, capability. Now, here comes the role of venture capitalists like you. Uh, the reason is manufacturing starts giving you return from day one, but the IP driven manufacturing,
Yes,
the design and development,
requires a big
that
capital.
requires time. It
Yeah.
takes 3 years, 4 years, 5 years
Yeah,
to
which is
develop the
okay. Yeah,
capability.
you're right.
Now, here you have to keep funding, you have to keep giving salary to the employees, and they're very specialized people.
Right.
Some may be retired, some may be young, bright talent from the reputed institutes in India, or maybe from abroad. So, if the idea is you have to first identify where would you like to go. So you have to look into the future, maybe 3, 4, 5 years into the future, and say that I would be master in that, and then develop the capability. I again see here uh, fighter aircraft, big drones, tanks, anything which you can see, mechanical things, they are going to become obsolete. We have seen in the Ukraine Russia operations. Uh, the only thing which will survive is a manless drones
Autonomous.
in the air, autonomous in the air, autonomous in the sea, autonomous on the ground. So here is an opportunity for the manufacturing company because they can think in terms of autonomy, and that calls for money. So the drone or unmanned air system UAS is the biggest disruptor in the defense industry. Anything can be replaced with this. Anything can be neutralized by using the drones. So IP has to be generated by the manufacturing companies. They cannot get away without it. Otherwise, their shelf life is not more than 3 to 5 years. We had our own way of helping companies to generate IP. What we used to do, because we were big enough, so we used to position our engineers, 5 engineers, 6 engineers, for 4 or 5 years along with the vendor to develop his capability so that we can indigenously get the components. So the manufacturing has to undergo revolution. No way out.
Great. Gunjan, I'll come to you, but just wanted Dr. Somnath's thoughts on this whole design-led manufacturing for the mid-stage and the components and so on. Have you seen a shift in that capability within the country and enough being invested? Of course, uh, one of the reasons to do this report and is to show that opportunity. We'll see more capital follow, but what are you seeing today?
See, I look at manufacturing as a specialization itself. See, there is a difference between design and manufacturing. The skill sets required for that are entirely different. I agree with the design and manufacturing to have a company like a data pattern, but they are invested in knowledge people, no, which are not in the manufacturing segment. So look at HAL. HAL is primarily a design technology organization. Their research is in the manufacturing technology and related knowledges. For example, I'll tell you, suppose you go to China for a device or equipment manufacturing, you look for tooling people around. The knowledge in tooling is so vast there that you can find hundreds of people in a room filled with tooling knowledge. And if you go in India and discuss somewhere, you won't even find a tooling fellow. I'll tell you, if you want to just make an O-ring, there is no one to make a good tooling for an O-ring in India. Whereas you will find hundreds of companies who are capable of building tooling for an O-ring. So you look at the technology is related to manufacturing itself is another domain. For example, if you want to make an aircraft in a rocket engine cannot be designed by Godrej, but Godrej manufactures rocket engines. Now, even the technology for manufacturing of the rocket engine is actually shared in discussion with ISRO to Godrej and with the manufacturer. But then that they are manufacturing still only components. They don't know how to put them together to make a final engine. Still, it comes back to ISRO and then we assemble and then make it. Why I say is that we wanted to find companies who are skilled in knowledge and manufacturing itself. For example, that there we need to invest. That is not happening. So we need to have people with great knowledge in tooling, processes, metallurgy and materials, manufacturing, machine tools, process engineering, automation. I think those areas related to manufacturing itself need to grow, and we need to create a pool of talents. So it requires R&D is focused on manufacturing, R&D focused on industry skilling, teaching institutions like where the skilled people and people with, for example, tooling is, you don't need great engineering, full knowledge, but you know how to develop a press for a sheet metal for a mobile phone. You just look at a mobile phone outer cover. If it is a metallic titanic cover, it requires huge tooling of precision, thermal design, the fitment. It is not available in India. So why it is looking such a simple item? So those aspects are not being addressed in the community. I think somebody who can create a tooling house, for example, a startup who has a knowledge to support tooling for manufacturing in this company, in this country itself, will have a huge opportunity, I believe.
Interesting. Gunjan, I think I want you to address two questions. First, talent, right? So when you have some of these global companies were of course used leveraging India for some of their R&D and design. What do you hear about engineering? I mean, a lot of our engineering talent has been always repurposed for software coding, but hopefully that era is changing. Uh, what has been your experience I mean, are some of these companies able to get the right talent in the country?
So I wouldn't say that there is not a challenge. There is a challenge. But having said that, what one good thing happening for the country is that all of these technologies are coming together. So if you look at aerospace and defense, you look at automotive industry, you look at electronics, or you look at space, all of them borrow from each other. So if you are making a phone, you require sheet metal, you require precision, mechanical work, tooling, all of that, Similarly, that is there in aerospace and defense. Similarly, if you look at in medtech and other companies. So what we have been doing, like when we work with these companies, so aerospace defense companies are becoming suppliers for Apple now, and many of them are, and we are introducing them. Similarly, other companies which are doing avionics and electronics for the automotive industries are going in this space. What we have been working is that we are partnering with the best to create those skills within the state. So we are, say, for example, aerospace and defense. Dynamatic is one such tier one suppliers to Airbus, Boeing, to all our HAL, ISRO. Everybody will they similarly Centum and all of them. They have taken an aerospace and defense, an ITI, and converted into an aerospace and defense center for excellence, where they are doing a lot of, because there's a lot of skill workmanship that is required, and that is being done there. Machine tool, of course, in Karnataka we are the machine tool capital of India, and there are a lot of people who are getting trained, but we need, the next level. Similarly, robotics and other areas, there are lots of training that is being held, and we are, say for example, when Foxconn came, we said, okay, not just end assembly, what we are looking at, how deeper we can go. So we are getting their suppliers. Some of them we are getting from abroad. When we get them from abroad, we said, why don't you start your own training, so that you start your training, then people will get trained, and then the companies mushroom. Others, we introduce them, somebody is doing a level 1, can it graduate to level 2, and then it can graduate to level 3. So that is our methodology. So we are partnered with World Bank, we are partnered with Siemens, we are partnered with number of companies to ensure that we keep on adding to the skill set.
Maybe you want to make that MRO comment. Yeah.
And yes, and talking about aerospace and defense, we can also very proudly say that Bangalore is becoming the MRO capital of India. We have the MRO of both Air India and Indigo. In fact, the groundbreaking for Indigo happened today, and 6 months back we had the groundbreaking for the Air India, and of course we'll have a lot of Tata Advanced System. Will be getting a lot of other people I can't name. I'm not allowed to. And so this is something that is happening, and this will bring in all the companies from abroad, like Honeywell, Collins, Safra. All of these companies will come, and when they will come, they will actually pass on that technology, because people will be working on that, and when they work, that's how the entire
There's an ecosystem. Thanks. So, any closing thoughts on what you think could be advice for entrepreneurs? I mean, one very broad level thought from you on terms of the future of where defense technologies are was very useful. I had a question on do you have to build every component of that technology day one, or do you think smart joint ventures uh, today are possible with companies in Ukraine, with other countries, and startups can really bootstrap themselves by these partnerships and over a period of time engineer them? Is that a possibility?
Yeah, the prospects are having missed the manufacturing revolution due to perceived hatred of Henry Kissinger towards India. We jumped onto the knowledge economy, knowledge business,
Which served us well, but now we
fairly known well to all of us. Now we know that the number of jobs manufacturing industry can create. One job in manufacturing downstream will create at least 8 to 10 jobs, which is not possible in other areas. So manufacturing is the only way India and people can become prosperous. And the opportunities are unlimited, because if you look at the automobile sector, I would not say the import in the percentage terms, because it hurts. It hurts the ego of Indians. But large percentage of, large means more than 50% of the components are coming from abroad in the automobiles. You take drones, more than 99% of the components are coming from abroad. Although we are saying that Make in India campaign is on. So Make in India is basically assemble in India. Rather, drive with the screw in India. And so the opportunities are to create those things in India.
Sure.
And when we say that Make in India, the government has come out with a fantastic fund. It's called Research Development Innovation Funds recently.
Yeah.
And this RDI is going to have a corpus of more than 1 lakh crore.
Yes.
Of course, it depends on the bureaucrats and auditors. How do they monitor? How do easily they distribute the funds to entrepreneurs? But the government is trying their best.
Sure.
The private VCs, they have to.
No, I think for every
take
dollar
the
they put in,
initiative.
we believe that $2 to $3 can come from the private ecosystem.
Yes, that's very much possible. And I'm very optimistic because the manufacturing is the only area where opportunity exists for our country.
Great. Dr. Somnath, any closing thoughts from yours?
I think manufacturing definitely is the right time that you have brought in as the scaling up of the industry ecosystem for this nation. One of the biggest issue with respect to manufacturing in advanced manufacturing segment is still continue to be the demand generation, which I believe will happen now, because one of the important issue is that we need to have an internal demand generation
Which we are starting to
which
see.
we are starting. I think that is what is going to drive the creation of this. Coming to your earlier discussion, also I know we were discussing there is an acute shortage of funds. Whenever I discuss with people in this segment, I see there are a lot of people willing to invest in this segment, which is a very positive thing which I see. I think that's the very clear indication that you are also
Yes.
coming out and telling that yes, that we are ready to invest in this. So I see a positive note now. Manufacturing is getting the attention which is required now, and we need to create more concentrated hubs for manufacturing. I believe that distributed across the country is not a good idea. For sectors like this, we need to create places where we can aggregate all of them in one go,
Sure.
and then build advanced manufacturing hubs in India, coupled with institutions which can add value through research and IP generation.
Thank you. On that note, I think it's a very good note. Thank you, Gunjan. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.